Now we're looking at formal and informal language, but the first half of the lesson will be a phrasal verb revision lesson, because you'll notice that all the informal expressions are phrasal verbs and all the formal expressions, well, I'm not sure, but they look quite Latin to me, or they're based on the ancient languages, which very often are used for formal speech in English, especially Latin, because this was the language of power. This was the language of the Romans, and it was the language of the when the Norman Quest happened, it was the language of the invaders, the French. They had a lot of Latin words in their language, and so this was the language of the rulers, and this is why it is still formal. So that's something to remember first of all. We've got lots of phrasal verbs like break. You can talk about the breakup of the Soviet Union, which would be the collapse of the Soviet Union. You can also talk about the breakup of a rocket when it comes through the atmosphere, when it's coming, well, a space shuttle, when it's coming back through the atmosphere, it might break up, or a rocket might break up when it's leaving, I think, and it means it disintegrates. It breaks up into many pieces. But you can also talk about men and women breaking up, and if they do that, they separate, or maybe they get divorced. If you break off a relationship, if you break off relations, diplomatic relations with a country, you suspend relations. Okay, if something is brought about by something else, something is caused by something else. If you bring in new legislation, you introduce new legislation. And by the way, you'll still see some of these informal terms in newspapers, but I think that all of these would always be considered less formal than the Latin equivalents. So if you go or come back, you return. If you go in or go out, you enter and exit. If you can't put up with someone's behaviour, you can't tolerate their behaviour. If you can't put up with the noise, you can't tolerate the noise. If you look like someone, you resemble them. You bear a striking resemblance to them is another good collocation, but you resemble them. If you give something out, you distribute, leaflets maybe, or homework. If the cooker is giving off a funny smell, it's emitting a gas. That always means emit a gas, basically. Or maybe there's some other meanings, I don't want to say always. If the military or if the army gives up, it surrenders. And if you give in to someone's demands, you yield to their demands. If you can't make something out, maybe you haven't got very good eyesight and you can't make out the sign, you can't discern what it says. If you make something up, if you lie about something, you fabricate, you're not telling the truth. If you take something away, you remove it. If you throw something away, you discard it. Yeah, get rid of would be another good phrasal verb, but you throw it away, you discard it. If the price of something goes up, it increases. If it goes down, it decreases. If you set up a business, you establish a new business. Find something out, you discover it. If you put off a meeting, you delay it or postpone it. Postpone would also be good as a formal equivalent. If you leave something out, then you omit it, you don't mention it. If you point something out, then you indicate that this is what you're talking about. You indicate it, or there's maybe another word which might work better there for point something out, but you're basically making it clear to everyone that this is important. If you set someone free, you release them, and if you turn up somewhere, you appear. Now please, if you're not certain about any of those words, do check a good dictionary. Always use a dictionary because it's much faster than asking someone, and the answer is usually there if you just want examples of these. Please do use a dictionary. So I've put some more now formal informal equivalents which weren't phrasal verbs, just some regular very common verbs which you can change into the formal verbs if you're writing an essay, for example. And I've got some linkers as well which should be useful for essays. But start would be commence, stop would be cease, ask for something, request something. If you need something, you require it. If you answer someone, you respond to them. If you breathe, you respire. If you sweat, you perspire. If you buy something, you purchase it. If If you eat something, you consume it. If you fix something, you repair it. If you get something, you obtain it. And if you help someone, you assist them. If you leave somewhere, you depart. If you let someone do something, you permit them to do something or allow them to do something. If you live somewhere, you reside there. And if you show someone something, you illustrate a point maybe, or portray something, or demonstrate something. Okay, if you tell someone about something, you inform them about something. And remember that tell on someone is the same as inform on someone. Very similar. And if you try something, you attempt it. Okay, the linkers are very useful because, I mean, you really want to get these words into your essays. They get you good marks. They really do. So you don't have to say next or afterwards. You can say subsequently. You don't have to say so or that's why. You can say consequently, therefore, thus, as a result. And it sounds very academic and intelligent. You can say at first, or you can say initially. You can say besides, also, or you can say moreover, furthermore, apart from this, in addition to this. You can say because of, or you can say owing to the fact that, due to the fact that, which sounds very, official. You can say if, or you can say on condition that, as long as, provided that, and I think all of those sound more formal. You can say for example, you can say for instance. I mean, they're pretty similar actually. Perhaps they're both about the same as each other, but it's another one to use if you're getting sick of saying for example. Whereas is a formal version of while when you use it as for contrast. That is not time, but for contrast. A formal version of though would be albeit. That's a personal favourite. I like that word. And if you want to talk about something, you don't need to use the word about. You can about means concerning, regarding. Yeah, and this is a much more formal equivalent of about. So if the report is about the first quarterly sales, yeah, the sales report for the first quarter, you can say the report concerns, or the report is concerning the sales report for the first quarter, or the report is regarding sales for the first quarter. Okay, and you can say sometimes, or you can say the more formal occasionally. Okay, if you have any questions about all these formal, informal equivalents, please put them under the video. Please use a dictionary if you want some more examples, or if you have a question which the dictionary can answer, because very often it can. And if it's not possible, please put the question under the video and I'll be delighted to answer them. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all soon.